Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of The County Seat. I'm your host, Chad Booth. We're bringing you the show today from the boardroom at the state capitol. Now, the process of assessing is a county function. The assessor values your property to make sure that everybody pays a fair tax for the value of the property that they own. However, it's a difficult task and it requires a certain amount of expertise. Some of Utah's smaller counties have a hard time either finding comparable values for people's homes to assess a fair market value, or just don't have the resources given their small budgets to go through the regular process. So a number of years ago, the state got involved by setting up the multi-county assessing and collecting levy. And what this basically does is it takes the counties that can generate extra money for this in a tax levy and handing it off to some of the counties that need a little bit of help. Well, in theory, it's a good idea. So today we are going to talk about how the system works and the pros and cons of how it's working.
Competition. That's what our economic system is all about. Businesses compete with each other, and in the end, they become stronger and better. Sometimes, though, collaboration works even better. Take, for instance, this shopping mall here. There are several restaurants right in this little area. They're in competition, of course, but they have a mutual interest in working together to bring more people into the mall. The multi-county assessing and collecting levy and the school district basic levy were put into place by the legislature to create a system that is fair and equitable across the entire state. Every county in Utah puts select property tax revenues into one big pot, each contributing only according to their size and affluence. The counties then draw from the fund at an equal rate. So it doesn't matter if you're from a wealthy county or a poorer county. In the case of public education, the school levy puts every student on equal footing.
About 20 plus years ago, one of the dilemmas in the state were the unequal amounts of money that the different school districts had to work with. And there was a determination that there ought to be a portion of that school levy equalized so that you didn't have some counties that were rich in ability to fund education and others that were really struggling.
The assessing and collecting levy works in much the same way as the basic school levy. Some counties in Utah don't have the tax base to fully fund the office that assesses the value of homes and businesses in order to collect property taxes. Counties that have more dollars available through the tax will contribute to the counties that don't. The rate for both the basic school levy and the multi-county assessing and collecting is set by the state legislature. They see it not only as a way to be fair to students and help out smaller communities, but as a way to strengthen the state as a whole.
We want to be equitable, that everyone's paying their fair share. If you have a $500,000 home, you should probably, according to state statute, pay 5 times as much tax as someone that owns a $100,000 property. And so we want to be consistent, especially within neighborhoods, that our values are consistent. And that's why we review the data annually. We also review physically each property at least every 5 years, according to state statute.
There's an advantage even if you're a contributing county, because when your neighboring county is doing well, you do well too. We're contiguous.
Now back to our shopping center scenario. Competition and collaboration do work when they're applied in the proper scenario. The question though is, what is the right scenario? Because not every situation is the same, and sometimes problems can arise. Well, the same thing happens when you're talking about taking taxes from one county and giving them to another. We'll discuss that in our roundtable coming up in just a moment. For the County Seat, I'm Terry Wood.
We now understand a little bit about how assessing and collecting works. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the problems this system has created and hope to look for some solutions in the future. Stay with us. We'll be back on the County Seat.
If you look up epic in the dictionary, it's defined as heroic, majestic, or impressively great. Here in Kane County, Utah, we don't need a dictionary to tell us that. We live it every day. Stop reading about life and start experiencing it in Kane County. ATV adventures, Jeep excursions, hike a world where the Old West was yesterday and tomorrow is just over the horizon. Kane County, Utah, where epic is more than just a word, it's our way of life.
What do you picture when you hear Rich County, Utah? Bear Lake adventure? Snowmobile action? Pristine skiing? Spectacular solitude? Well, if that isn't what first came to mind, then you just don't know Rich County. The Bear Lake Monster Polar Plunge, snowmobiling Monte Cristo, ice fishing Bear Lake, skiing the backcountry, fishing at the Cisco Disco. Come and find out what you never knew you were missing. Rich County, Utah.
How would you spend an extra day in Utah Valley? Stay one more day. Visit utahvalley.com to make reservations. Utah Valley. Bring everyone together.
In order for there to be adventure, there must first be a land that offers it. In order for there to be discovery, there must first be something undiscovered. It's time you discovered northeastern Utah's dinosaur lands, the trails, water, beauty, and history that have been 65 million years in the making. Take your journey to a destination where adventure is only limited by your imagination. Join us in Uinta County, Undiscovered Utah.